Hey everybody, how's it going? B Temple back again, and it's been a little while. It's been about a month, I suppose, since my last review, but finally getting a little chance to get back into something. And today we got something that's a little unique, I guess, not very, I guess, widespread. This is probably, I believe, going to be the first English review of this particular type of ration. The only other one I've seen online is in Arabic. What we have in front of us is, as you can see here, a Bundeswehr Einmannpackung, which basically means the Federal Defense Force of Germany, the armed forces, their individual combat ration. Most of the reviews you will see online of these brand new ones, these bagged versions, are the Western menus. So this is only the second halal review you'll ever see, unless obviously someone gets one up between the time of me reviewing this and actually posting it. But these particular rations look completely different from what German rations usually look like. German rations usually come in a gray box. These, I believe, from the information I've gotten, were created simply because of a need for extra rations during a major exercise for the German Armed Forces. I don't know if it was like a NATO sort of run exercise or just for the German Armed Forces, and they just needed more. So they had to outsource to a different company to get them these extra rations. And these particular rations, you see it's in this kind of, tan colored bag, look incredibly similar to United Nations rations, especially the halal ones, and also look somewhat similar to Portuguese rations as well. And you'll notice once we get inside, I assume that a lot of the components will look fairly similar, I suppose. Because I'm pretty sure this is actually made by Jamipsa, which is the same company that makes United Nations rations, makes Portuguese rations, and also makes some components for Spanish rations. So yeah, these are meant to be, like I said, for German armed forces. They were meant to be secondary, I guess, extra. And this is obviously meant for someone who's in the German armed forces or someone attached to the German armed forces for this exercise who is Muslim. So, the food in here has to be halal certified. The only other review I've ever seen is a Type 1, so the Type 2, this one's never actually been seen before, so it'll be interesting to have a look at what items are inside. And I guess before we go any further, I guess that's what we'll do. So yeah, it's in a big bag. Everything's in German and English. And let's tear this thing open. And we'll have a look at all of the components. First, we've got a bag of, I guess you can call it the brew kit, I suppose. Got these little tags. I don't know if that's meant to be for what batch number it is or the person that was inspecting it. Got 6 packs of sugar, 8 grams each. We got 4 instant coffees. 4 whiteners, either for tea or coffee, whatever you want it for. 2 tea bags. And 4 little packets of salt, 1 gram each. Next we got another bag of, I guess, drinks is the best way to put it. We'll see. So yeah, 4 isotonic drinks, and they're all lemon flavor. Not a whole lot of variety. A single packet of sugar-free chewing gum with sweetener. Feels like there's 6 pieces in there. Got some water purification tablets. And another different batch code or inspector code. Next we got a pack of tissues. 2 packs of sweet biscuits, 55 grams each. So it feels like there's probably maybe 5 in each packet. 3 packets of salty biscuits, 55 grams each. a dessert. We've got a cinnamon cake, and this looks exactly the same as the cinnamon cake that I reviewed in my Slovenian single meal ration, the only one of its type until Steve 1989 did a similar version as well. 2 moist towelettes, 2 dark chocolate bars, 25 grams each, 2 jams, 20 grams each. Got a Fruit Fusion Power of Natural Energy bar, which says orange and almond. We've got 2 tins of pate. One is sardine, one is tuna. Probably gonna like that one. Probably not gonna like that one, but we'll see. Got a little content piece of paper, a little menu list, I guess. And we've got our 2 main meals. So we've got a Tex-Mex beef chili and a chicken hadas lentils. So you see everything's in German, obviously, and in English. These are manufactured by Jamipsa, as you can see. And they're both 300 gram pouches. So yeah, this is all meant to be a 24-hour period. This is what it's supposed to sort of get you by, I guess. It's going to be kind of interesting to sort of break this down into 3 different meals. Obviously, you know, you're going to have like a lunch and a supper or dinner, supper, whatever you want to call it. Trying to find something that's sensible for breakfast might be a little bit difficult, I suppose. There's a few differences between this particular ration and what you would normally see in a UN ration. There's actually a lot more crackers, but less of some other items. UN rations usually would have like a packet of muesli, granola, some jelly bars, things like that. So there's a couple differences here, and you wouldn't see canned meat. But remember, this is meant to be a halal ration, so everything here has to be certified to be permissible for someone who is Muslim. So what we're going to do, we'll break this down into 3 meals. Let's get the tray out, and let's see what we're going to have for breakfast. All right, so here's everything laid out that we're going to have for breakfast. We've got ourselves a cup of tea we're going to make. And we've got some peach jam. We've got a packet of sweet and salty biscuits, just to try both of them out. We'll get our Fruit Fusion bar going as well. No cutlery comes with this. Obviously, if you're part of the Bundeswehr, you get your own sort of cutlery set. So we're just going to use our long Canadian spork. And we'll try out our 2 fish pates. Remember, we got tuna and sardine. So what we'll do, just to expedite time, is get everything opened up and get everything ready. So yeah, something's gone wrong already. The sardine pate pull tab did not want to work, so we're going to have to haul out a old-fashioned can opener to get this one open. Alright, so we got everything all laid out. We got our fruit bar, and we got our salty biscuits and our sweet biscuits. You can't really tell from the lighting here, but the sweet biscuits just are a shade darker than the salty ones. Their smell is obviously different, but we'll see what kind of difference we get in taste. Got the peach jam. I just got one open for now. We'll see if we need the second one or not. These have this like pull tab. Well, it's supposed to be a pull tab that you can you know, haul it off. But yeah, that never turns out the way it's supposed to be. You're sort of a false sense of security. You're always going to have to cut those open. Got our tuna pate. We got our sardine pate, and the tuna pate actually smells pretty good. The sardine pate is just straight fish smell. It's got a very mackerel kind of smell to it, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But obviously, we'll give it a try anyway. And then we've just got our tea sitting there doing its thing. So we'll give that a stir first. And it doesn't give you particularly what type it is, you know, if it's orange Pico or Earl Grey, whatever, you know, Ceylon. But it's a very light black tea. I don't usually put cream or sugar or anything in my tea, so we'll just drink it as is. Get a better sense of how it actually tastes. And I guess we can start. Let's try out one of the biscuits on its own first. So we'll try one of the salty ones. They're very dense. Very crispy. That is an incredibly bland cracker that sucks every bit of moisture out of your mouth. There's a little bit of saltiness to it, but not a whole lot. All you're basically getting is that sort of very strong wheat flavor. It's got a mix of a flavor in between something like a saltine and a cream cracker. Something sort of in between that. Let's try our sweet one next. See what this one's like. Same consistency, but the sweet one's actually really nice. It's got a little bit of an arrowroot kind of flavor to it. Not quite graham cracker, but somewhere in between that. Somewhere in between like an arrowroot and the graham cracker. So it's actually really nice. It's not quite as thirst-provoking as the salty biscuits are. It's not quite as dry. Like it doesn't suck away the moisture as much. But I think either one of those will be good, depending on what spreads we use. I don't say fish probably will go well with the sweet biscuit, but fish will probably go well with the salty, so that's why we're going to pair it up this way. We'll try out our salty biscuit with some of the fish first. Let's get some of the stuff out of the way that I probably might not like. So let's try out our sardine pate on this little bit of salty biscuit we have. It's a darker, I guess, flesh is the best way to put it, compared to tuna. And the oil that's in here almost seems like it has a little bit of a tomato base to it as well. But yeah, let's give that a try. I wouldn't say I hate that. I could eat it if I had to. But yeah, I certainly don't enjoy it. Oh, and that tea doesn't really do a good job either. It's really not a very nice tea. Yeah, that's incredibly fishy. I'm someone who's never really eaten a whole lot of sardine before. So all I can say is that it tastes a lot like mackerel. And just like an acrid amount of fishy flavor is the best way to put it. Really off-putting. I know some people, I'm sure, would probably just love that. But yeah, I am not one of those people. Now we'll give the tuna a try. I'm someone who actually does like tuna, so I'm hoping that this will actually be okay. This is incredibly wet. That's the best way to put it. Remember, this is a pate. It's not like, flake or chunk tuna. That's better. Still not great, though. For tuna, it's actually rather bland. I don't know how they could take flavor out of tuna, but they found a way to do it with this. And by using like the biscuit like that, where that's a really bland biscuit, the wheat flavor in the biscuit actually overtakes the tuna, which is something that you wouldn't think it would do that, but it really does. So yeah, not too great for the I guess the fish spreads. We'll take some more tea again just to try to cleanse the palate a bit before we move on. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that tea. I'm drinking it because it's kind of the only thing I have here. But it's very woodsy is the best way to put it. It's almost like spruce needles kind of flavor to it, or almost like a little bit like a dirt kind of flavor, which I know is not the best way to describe tea, but that's how it tastes. Next, we'll try one of our sweet biscuits with some of our peach jam. And as you can see, it's a pretty good consistency. Nice viscosity. Let's give it a try. Oh wow. Going from the fish spreads on the salty biscuits to this peach jam on the sweet. Oh man, it's like sort of a day and night kind of thing. Just perfectly fresh and light. And these biscuits and this jam together are the absolute perfect accompaniment. Yeah, those are great. I might keep this for later, for maybe another different meal. No need to eat the two of them right now. Not a whole lot left. We'll try out it's called the almond orange bar. What if you actually, I should have shown you before I threw it away. But the packaging here is primarily fig and apricot is the two main ingredients here. And you can certainly see the fig base in this bar, all the seeds and everything. But it looks really good. It smells really good. It's very pliable. So this is your sort of standard fruit bar. Yeah, let's give it a try. There's obviously the two main ingredients are fig and apricot. That's what you get the most, especially the fig. But at the very end, you do get a nice bitter citrus flavor that comes through. It's supposed to be orange. I would say it tastes a little bit more like lemon, actually. More like a lemon and orange mix. But this is actually really tasty. It's supposedly high in fiber. And a great sort of start to your day kind of breakfast item. Yeah, that's awesome. I really enjoy that. So we've kind of got like a hit and miss kind of thing going on for breakfast. We've got incredibly dry and bland salty crackers with a fish spread that I knew I probably wasn't going to like. and didn't, and a fish bread that I thought I was going to really love, but didn't enjoy very much at all. And then a tea that's, yeah, I would think for any ration I've had so far since I've been doing this, that's probably the worst tea I've ever had. It tastes like like I said, like you're drinking dirt and trees, So it's not kind of words you want to use when you're describing a nice breakfast tea. But then obviously on the other side, we've got our fruit bar, which is amazing, our sweet biscuits, which are great, and our jam, which is just absolutely perfect. So this was breakfast. What we're going to do now is move on to the lunch or dinner portion of our 24 hours, and we'll get that laid out for you. All right, everyone, so this is what we're going to have for our lunch/dinner portion. I didn't see the need of opening up another pack of biscuits, seeing we had 3 of the ones left over from breakfast, so we'll just keep those there. I don't know how they're really going to go with the chili, but we'll have them anyway, just in case. For our drink, we got our lemon isotonic drink. There's 4 of them, so there's really no sort of variation on flavor. It's just, I hope you enjoy lemon. And then we have our cinnamon cake and our dark chocolate. So that's what we'll have for our dessert for this one. Really, when you start looking at it, once you get rid of breakfast and then you start laying out the rest of the items for the day, this 24-hour ration kind of does come in on the light side when it comes to both variation and for actually how much you get. It's nowhere near as small, obviously, as something like a Jordanian 24-hour ration. If anyone's ever seen a review of those, there's a very small amount of food in that ration for 24 hours. But then this really seems like just a German ration in name only. There's nothing about this that is similar to a standard German ration. A standard German EPA in the sort of the grayish cardboard box has a lot more variation and a lot more items. So yeah, this is sort of what I would perhaps call a secondary type ration, substandard, compared to the original. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our Tex-Mex beef chili heated up, and then we'll get everything else opened up and ready, and then we'll try everything out. All right, so this is lunch laid out, guys. Doesn't look like a whole lot, but a 300-gram portion is a pretty sizable portion when it comes to a main meal. We've got our chocolate, our cinnamon cake, we've got some salty biscuits, and we've got our lemon drink. And as you can see, this lemon drink, there's absolutely zero extra, I guess, additives for that. There's no artificial colors, anything like that. And then we've got our Tex-Mex beef chili, which looks like mostly beans, and I think it accounts for about 45 to 50% of the whole weight. And then we've got like a beef mince that goes with it, and there's a little bit of red pepper, and that's about the extent of it, aside from a tomato-based sauce and maybe a little bit of onion and garlic and whatnot. But yeah, this is, when it comes to chili, this is a lot more like a bean stew than it is a chili. Not a whole lot of meat in there actually, but seems to be well heated. So we'll give this a try. Remember, this is Halal certified, so this is permissible for anyone who is Muslim. See all those red kidney beans? And let's give this a try. I normally don't complain about things being bland, but wow, that is a tremendously bland chili. So we're going to add a little bit of salt to that. I think it's probably the first time ever in any of the reviews I've ever done. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I think this is probably the first one I've ever actually thought about adding salt to something, and I threw way too much of that in there. That's going to be pretty bad. So I ended up on the cake as well. Anyway, let's mix this up a little bit and see if the salt can just bring some of it to life a little bit. There's no black pepper in this ration. I think something like black pepper probably would have lent itself well to something like this, ending up being so bland. Let's try it now with a bit of salt. That did wonders. It's a lot more vibrant now. The salt really brought out the rest of the flavors, but there's still not a whole lot to this. It's certainly not a spicy chili. I don't know how they could call this Tex-Mex. There's barely anything about this that screams Tex-Mex flavor. It just happens to be, like I said, more of a kidney bean stew that happens to have a bit of beef and red bell pepper thrown into it. It's certainly going to be filling, and it's certainly going to be, full of fiber and everything like that. So, from a standpoint of, I guess, keeping you full, this is certainly going to be okay. But you're certainly not going to be blown away by the flavor here. Let's try our lemon isotonic drink. As you can see, it's dissolved pretty well. Oh, wow. That is very artificial. That just tastes like I was just drinking like detergent for washing dishes or something like a household cleaning product. Yeah. Oh, that's not great at all. So, yeah, the drinks here have not been fantastic. I'm someone who doesn't drink coffee, so the coffee's kind of wasted on me. So the tea was horrible, and now the isotonic drink is bad. And they give you 4 of them. So I guess I could have thrown 2 packs into one, because they only call for 250 mils anyway. I know this glass could easily hold double that or maybe even triple that. So yeah, that's not very good, actually. That's kind of disappointing. So lastly, we'll just try out our desserts. We've got our 25-gram dark chocolate bar, and it looks like it's in absolutely fantastic shape. It's got a wonderful snap to it. Look at that cross-section. Let's give this dark chocolate a try. Oh yeah, that's the best thing so far. This particular thing, I believe, is actually an Orifo brand item, and you can get this particular type of chocolate in other rations, and it's just amazing, high quality dark chocolate. Incredibly creamy, like a milk chocolate would be, but that extra little bit of bitterness that comes through by using like a, you know, a higher level cacao. I don't know what this actually is. I don't know if it's 50 or 60 or 70. Doesn't seem like 60. I'd put it in somewhere between the 50, somewhere in the 50 range. It's certainly not a 60 or 70. It's not that dark. It does have a slightly lighter color to it. So yeah, it's more like a dark chocolate and milk chocolate mix. That's fantastic. That's not going to last very long after we're done here. And the last item we have is our cinnamon cake. So this is a standard, once again. This is another Orifo item. They make various flavors of cakes: vanilla, chocolate, orange. The orange is probably my favorite, although this cinnamon one is great as well. You can see it tears apart pretty well. Let's try this. And that is absolute perfection. Perfectly moist. It's a dense cake, but it's not dry. And it tastes like you're eating like a cinnamon bun. It's the best way to put it. And but a really good cinnamon bun. I'm sure, obviously, to make a shelf-stable cake like that, it's probably full of preservatives and whatnot. And sometimes that stuff can taste really sort of chemically. But that is amazing. That tastes like a freshly made cake. And like I said, it tastes just like a cinnamon bun. And if you're someone who likes cinnamon buns, you would absolutely love that. So everyone, this has been lunch. There's not a whole lot left to say. The main meal was kind of lackluster. If you're someone who likes kidney beans, it's okay. I do like kidney beans, but the base sauce here was very bland. I think with a little bit more stuff thrown in there, you know, a little bit more chili powder, some black pepper, stuff like that, that would really bring it to life. But for what it is, you know, it'll get you through. And then our desserts were fantastic. The isotonic drink was not particularly good, but the worst thing is now coming up for the supper portion. Kind of got nothing else left to drink because I don't drink coffee, and all I got left is tea and the isotonic drink, and I wasn't a fan of either of them. But what we'll do is we'll get supper plated up, and we'll get that going. All right, so we got everything laid out for our supper portion. We've got our main meal, our chicken adas lentils. We got some another chocolate bar. Got our lemon isotonic drink. Got some of our leftover crackers. We got the sweet ones, and we'll have another peach jam. We got some salty biscuits, which we'll try with the main, just to see how it goes. And then lastly, we'll give our chewing gum a try at the end. So we'll get our main meal heated up, and then we'll get everything else ready. All right, everyone. So here's supper. The color is not coming out perfectly. I guess because of the natural light that's off to this side. It looks a little extra bright, I guess. But don't really have a whole lot here. When you look at it laid out like this, it makes the whole ration seem a little bit more sad, I guess. It's pretty bad to say that the breakfast portion probably was the most sort of, I guess, varied and interesting part of the meal. There's really not a whole lot to this, actually, when you think about it, for a whole 24-hour period. It's an incredibly sort of like just bland kind of thing. Just look at the color of this. It's all just sort of mixes of yellows and browns and whatnot. What we do have here, it was called chicken adas lentils. And mostly what we actually have are lentils and rice. And even, I can see one solitary raisin here. So it's meant to have some sort of like, you know, Middle Eastern kind of sense to it. there's mechanically, or there's, you know, chicken meat in here. There's a little bit I can see at this point, but when you start flipping through it, there's not a lot of chicken actually in here. There's a little bit more here and there. So it's primarily a rice and lentil stew. I don't know how the flavor is going to come out, but let's give this a try first. Try to get a little bit of everything so we can at least see what the chicken tastes like, and a bit of rice, lentils, the whole thing. See how much mess we can make here. Get a better look at it. Let's give this a try. I think if the sauce base was a bit different, it would be enjoyable, but it's a really weird... Yeah, it's not a pleasant aftertaste. It doesn't go well with your palate. The lentils and the rice taste fine. You can taste the chicken a bit. There's not a whole lot to the sauce itself. It says it's made from meat extract and meat aroma, which doesn't sound particularly appetizing. And a little bit of turmeric and black pepper and a few things like that. But I don't know. It just doesn't leave a pleasant taste in your mouth even after the first bite. I kind of just don't want to have any more of it. It's really unenjoyable. So I gotta say, this is a major miss when it comes to the main entree. It had a lot of promise. Sounded like it was going to be good. It even looked like it might be okay. But yeah, I can't even place the type of flavor that it actually is. All I know is that it's unpleasant, and it makes me not want to have any more. I don't know what would be different if we tried a little bit with the salty biscuit. That's the last little chance I'll give it, I suppose. Let's just try a little bit on here, see what the biscuit does. That biscuit's just so dry, and this time around, it did nothing to enhance the flavor of this. It didn't mask it at all in any way. This still tastes just as bad as it did the first time I tried it. All right, let's have a little bit of our lemon drink. Try to cleanse the palate as much as we can. I mixed up 2 packs of the isotonic drink this time. And, I don't know, it tastes a little better when it's concentrated like this. A little bit more of the sweetness comes through as opposed to the sort of chemical, artificial lemon kind of flavor. So it's at least better than it was the first time. That's the best way I can put it. Not really a whole lot else to say aside from, let's give our second chocolate bar a try. Looks just like the first one. Yeah, once again, that's just perfect. Our second packet of jam. Let's just give that a try. This one seems to have separated a bit more than the previous one. And there we go. So really, for the entire 24-hour ration, it's really mostly just the sweet items that have come through to make this somewhat palatable. At least the chili was something you could eat anyway. This here, I really don't want to have any more of it. That's how bad of an aftertaste it is. It's just really strange. I don't know if it's meant to be that way, or what. But it's not like this is old. This is only produced maybe a year ago, maybe less. So it's not like this thing is, shouldn't be gone bad or anything like that. But yeah, kind of disappointing actually. Last, we'll give our chewing gum a try. It just says with sweeteners. I don't know what flavor it's supposed to be, but I'm going to assume, some sort of mint flavor, but we'll give it a try. Yeah, it's peppermint. Not very good. The outside layer is not hard and sort of crispy, I guess. You don't crack into it. And I'd say within 15 seconds, all the flavor was gone. So, yeah, another swing and a miss for this ration. Basically, like I said before, this really isn't much of an actual German ration. It just happens to be called a German ration. This is primarily, for the most part, a United Nations ration that's been repurposed as a secondary German ration. And most of the United Nations rations really don't get a very good name when it comes to being flavorful and all that kind of stuff. And this sort of, backs up that assertion perfectly. Aside from a couple of the items, like the chocolate and the cake and some jam and some crackers, pretty much everything else has not been very good. So, this has been our Bundeswehr Einmannpackung Type 2 Halal menu from the, which is the Federal Defense Individual Combat Ration from obviously Germany. And that's about it. I'm not entirely sure what review I'm going to do next. Like I usually say, there's a lot of stuff in the queue or a lot of stuff down the pipeline. which I'll try to get to whenever I get a chance. It's summer break now, so no work for me for another 2 months, and so hopefully during that time, during these next 2 months, I'll get a little better of a chance to get a few more reviews out on a semi-regular basis, but whenever I can is when I'll do it. So, like I always say, thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a good one.